former chairman for Audiovisual Society of Ghana, ASOG.
Thank you so much, Chairman. My conversation is going to be informal because I was trained informally to do what I'm doing. And the field I am in is an informal area. I will not give academic presentation. I want to speak practically from the ground. All that we have seen today, Audiovisual Rights Society of Ghana is a group, it's an organization, it's an association of right owners, specifically films, movies in Ghana. Right? The law, copyright law, mandate us to come together, form an administration, get leadership, then they will stand in to help right owners in two major areas. One, we will liaise with Ministry of Finance through Custom Division to take levies from items that are imported into Ghana that has potential of storing audiovisual materials. Then the second leg is that we go around users of audiovisual materials to take royalties from them. Then we put the two together, then we share among the right owners. This conversation is very critical for us in so many ways. We do not have pension scheme. We do not have a model for apprenticeship. In our sector, we learn, we practice mostly through apprenticeship. And the models vary from one village to another village, from one region to another region, from one practitioner to another. For example, Lewin followed people, sometimes polishing their shoes, from directors, sometimes begging them, watching, and then through that, he became an actor. In some villages, they form Actors Guild, where practitioners actually go to learn informally. Some, by accident, join the industry. Maybe they want somebody to play a particular role. The person is not there. Then accidentally, you are called to come in, and then you become a practitioner in that industry. We do not have a model. When I look at what the center has presented, I think it is something Ghana have to accept. The second part of the conversation, which is the pension scheme. In fact, the story he mentioned, just last month, myself, James Awaje, and some group of people were sent by Ashanti Regional Minister to go and visit some practitioners, filmmakers, renowned ones. I don't want to mention their names. We wept, and we wept. A lot of us wept when we visited them. What you saw is even small. When you get to the ground to see where they stay, in fact, names that when we were kids, we were striving to be like them. Today, if you visit them and you are not careful, you will not ask any member of your family to practice creative art. I am standing here to confirm the findings of the research. In fact, in our industry, we are not able to come out with a pension scheme because of one, irregular income flow. Two, financial knowledge of the practitioners is a problem because you go and do work, proper contract to even sign, understanding of contract term to even sign a contract that will benefit him or her when the person is on retirement is an issue. Lack of government support and legislation. No law mandate an employer, mandate a film producer to put down something to support the future of the artist or any practitioner. So ladies and gentlemen, there is a confirmation from practice from the ground. The research is a confirmation what is really on the ground. And I want to appeal to government officials who are here. I want to appeal to media. I want to appeal to all stakeholders, organizations that do advocacy. Let us opt for these two things. First, the structure, and secondly, the pension scheme for creative art industry. And Ghana will not be as it is now. Thank you very much.
Everybody, I'm a filmmaker. I've been in the business for close to 30 years. and this is who I am today. Let me ask these questions. Is this forum organized or held to satisfy an academic need? Are the students here certain about their future? I don't know the answer. Whoever knows the answer should tell me. Because if we have people like Professor Elsie Ifa Kaufman in the system, this is what we are going to experience. If they were to advise government on policies to shaping our future, they have no regard for our crafts, our talent. They believe that being born into the creative sector is one of the useless gifts God can give to anybody. They don't put value on it. They don't quantify it. But I tell you, our country is what it is. Ghana is not beautiful because we do not put premium on artists. Elsewhere, all the beautiful things that you see, all the beautiful vehicles that we are craving for are the products of artists. And I believe the good professor is planning to buy the next, Toyota Prado, the new one, a very beautiful one. But she forgets that it is the work of an artist. Because if you have a national platform and you tell students that when your colleagues were learning, you were busy rehearsing a song to come and sing. By inference, she was telling them that they are a useless bunch of people. I'm an artist. What do I need functions for? Functions in admins, statistics. All what I need is to learn how to be creative. And practicing to sing is part of creativity. It is sharpening the skill. But such people do not value us. That is why they will tell you that your sector is informal. What makes it informal? Don't we have laws that mandate us to register our business? Don't we have laws that mandate us to pay our taxes? The rest is the attitude of such people. Because the rest is for government to do, not us. It is not my responsibility to tell SNED to come and take my pension contribution from me. If we want to do it, we will pass law. The law will state that as soon as you engage the services of a creative person, this percentage must be contributed by the creative person himself, this by the employer, this by the third-party user, and it will be done. If teachers were to be given their salary and be asked to go to SNED office to go and pay their contribution, you know what would have happened? There will be no SNED contribution for those that so-called sector contributors. So I believe that we are where we are because of the kind of people we put in the helms of our affairs. The people who do not understand us have been elected or selected to determine our destiny. That is so wrong. We should be interested in policy, in politics, because this is where that is the tool or the power to implement policies that affect us. We've left it for them. So when they go, this is a limited resource that we are sharing. So they look at their interest first. When you are giving a group picture that have you in the picture, whose picture? Who do you look for first? You look for yourself. So they are taking care of themselves. That is why they are treating it this way. So what I will say is, we do not need to copy from any country. From independence, we have copied programs and policies that do not benefit Africans. That is why we continue to suffer. Those donor countries, they will give you money, but they will control you. They will tell you that if you invest in this area, it will not yield returns, so don't go there. They do not value the funeral that we have, the festivals that we normally have. They do not value our social structure. Yet, they tell us they are giving us support. It is not support. They still want to keep us under their power. That is why they are giving us. So, Prof. Oceani, I appreciate the point where you said we should use for domestic funding. That is only when we ourselves see that whatever we are doing has value. Because 1% from the national, 1.2% from the budget, national budgetary allocation, for a sector that employs millions of Ghanaians. The television industry, do you know the number of people they employ? The radio industry, they employ people from this industry. Earlier on, I was having a discussion with Binoska. I asked him, where do the graduates of these people go? Because every year, at least 500 students will graduate. Where do they go? They are employed by our sector. Yet, it is a sector that is described as informal. Let us fight to make it formal. They say it is small in nature. I studied Steve Jobs. He started the Apple company from his father's garage. All what he was doing was to seek for employment for himself. Today, they have over 100,000 employees across the globe. And you are sitting here, you are telling us that our beginning is small, so we are informal. Do you know the value of Apple company today? It is $3.1 trillion. They can buy Ghana. We went to IMF, how much did we go for? $3 million, which is a severance package for their workers. And you call it informal. So you won't give it the necessary support that it needs to survive. Prof, you have a lot of work to do, especially your colleagues in the academia. They do not respect us. I don't know when they engage you or when you meet at forum and fora, how they see you. They will give you full respect. In your absence, they will talk negative about you. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Yes, I must say that this program is one of the best programs I've ever attended. All the participants are very attentive, and if even a pin drop, you will hear. So I'm very happy to be part of this program. But Mr. Chairman, we were seated for the past 2 hours. I kindly want them to stand for just 2 minutes. I'll do some exercise before we proceed. I have an exercise I normally do when I'm doing presentation. I want everybody to do the hand. Around your neck.
Yes,
Okay, thank you very much. It's a folklore. It's part of my trade secret. When we were young, we used to do it. So if you are not, if you are not used to it, you can't do it. Yes, I'm from Copyright Office, and in our daily lives, we read books, we listen to music, we dance, we use phones. All these are forms of what? Properties. But we have 2 types of properties. That is tangible property and intangible property. But the intangible property, we have 2 forms. That is copyright and related rights and industrial property. So listen to the those who presented before me, we are going to, with this program we are having, a lot of people are going to create intellectual properties and it's supposed to be protected. So in terms of copyright, we protect literal works, artistic works, computer softwares, drawings, and all those things. Then the industrial property too, we are looking at patent, trademark, trade secret, new plant variety, geographical indication. These are all properties which enjoy protection. So with this program, the apprenticeship program, when people are able to create works and they are new, it will enjoy a protection, and we can also exploit it to get money from it. And not only for the consumption of Ghana, we can also exploit the intellectual property outside. This importance of intellectual property is not, it has been realized long ago, and that's why in Ghana we have set up copyright office to protect intellectual property. Then in the Copyright Act, because the government have realized that that sector is very important, we have drafted Copyright Act 2005. And people are supposed to protect their works and to monetize their works. But in the Act, the government also put a land levy into the Act so that when you use copyright works, for instance, if you buy a pen drive, there's a tax on it. If you buy any device which can be used to copy works, every year the Copyright Office will write to finance, and those the custom officers, if they are able to take that tax, the Copyright Office will write for it, and they will share it to the collecting societies. That is ASOC, Copy Ghana, and GAMRO. All this government is doing because he has realized the importance of that sector. Because that sector alone, we call it copyright industries. That sector alone has contributed to about 4.77% of the workforce in Ghana, according to the study we did in 2020. And that sector too has been contributing about 4.02% of the Ghana GDP. So it is not left like that. Something has been done. We are happy. As you can see, I've been delegated for us to drive from Tamale to this, from Accra to this place, just because we realize the importance of what we are discussing today. So we are very happy about these findings of the research, and we are all for it. And as part of copyright, what we can do is to partner and to sensitize, to create awareness about the importance of that program, and to encourage the artists to join the program. We can also help, maybe if a data is needed for those who have registered their works, the Copyright Office can also do the same. So government, there are many sectors, challenging sectors with the scarce resources. So it's not that government have neglected that sector, but I must admit that what we are talking about, the pension, it is, in fact, it should have been done earlier, but better late than never. So let's all put our hands on deck to encourage our researchers to do more, and we'll come together with new ideas so that the sector can develop. Because when you look at even places, apprenticeship works such as Thailand and other districts, Togo and other countries, they have taken over from Ghana. Our youth, most of them don't even like to do that work. So I support what my brother was saying, that maybe if there can be some small allowance to encourage them to be in that field. I have used some of them, and mostly I interviewed them, and you see that they are not from Ghana. So it is a very reliable idea. We support it, and we are always available if you feel we can contribute any part, anything to that to enhance the program. In fact, the Copyright Office is in full support. And as I said, as I indicated earlier on, the Copyright Office is under Ministry of Justice. So as I've just come here, when I get back to Accra, I will have to write a report to my boss, and maybe we'll all be praying that the government will help us to implement this laudable this thing. So on this note, I'll end here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mahmoud. We're so grateful, representing the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General and also the Copyright Office. Next on the list will be the CEO of Ghana Music Rights Organization. He's going to give the word, and he's the person of Mr. Jackson Brifo, and showing some love. So as I said, High Life at 100 is coming. Watch it out.
Thank you. I'll be very brief as my height, so that we can move forward. I mean, let me be quick to say this. The Vice Chancellor, the faculty members of School of Creative Arts and Center for Research, Cultural Arts, dignitaries invited, students, all other protocols duly observed. I quite remember when I gained admission to the School of Arts in 2013, University of Ghana. The question I was always asking myself is, what am I going to do with this course after school? What am I going to do with this course after school? And it kept ringing in my mind without any lecturer even giving us a direction. And it was painful. It was a painful 4-year program because, speaking from Mr. James Abuaje from FIPAC, School of Arts are mostly considered the lower grade courses in universities. But today, I'm happy to see Center for Research in Culture and Creative Arts. It is going to compete with the Noguchis, the KCCRs, and we are going to find solutions to the questions I kept asking myself some decade ago. On that note, let me say that the Ghana Music Rights Organization is not a state entity. In fact, right holders, being it music composers, music producers, music publishers, and music performers, took their destiny into their own hands in 2012 to set up the Ghana Music Rights Organization as we see today. It was not set up by any government, nor did any government provide a seed money to set up the Ghana Music Rights Organization. It's a private limited by guarantee company established under Section 49 of the Copyright Act, Act 2005, Act 690, and mandated to collect and distribute royalties for music composers, lyricists, performers, record producers. So if you are in this chain and you are creating, you may be a student, you may be an academician. If you are creating, then you need to be part of the Ghana Music Rights Organization because there is revenue for you to tap into. In fact, between 2017 and 2024, the Ghana Music Rights Organization has distributed averagely $1.5 million to its right holders. I mean, 12 million Ghana cedis between 2017 and 2024. It actually means that there is revenue opportunities for creatives in this space. I mean, music composers, lyricists, music performers, and then music record producers. And so don't see it as a useless venture. It is not, and it will never be. In fact, if you check statistics and you check how much the creative industry across the world provides to the world, it is marginable. In California alone, there is a huge revenue that creatives provide to the economy of that state in the US. So there is hope for the creative industry in Ghana. Now let me touch on the pension aspect of the conversation. I'm very happy that academia is creating lights in pension in creatives. It has been long overdue. I mean, we sit and wait for such programs and such activities, and it hasn't come. So when I received the proposal, I was very happy. In fact, it was one subject matter I mentioned that no matter the agenda on my calendar this week and today, I would have to be here to share my thoughts and ideas and throw recommendations to academia to research more, because the government also has a trust for the academic institutions. And when things are written on paper, because the creative sector is intangible, so when things are not written on paper, people really don't take it serious. But then when academia is embracing this activity, we realize that policymakers hurriedly embrace this document. It may be sleeping in some dockets for a while, but when the conversation begins around it, as it was presented by Dean and then our faculty members, you realize that it drives the conversation. And the reason pension for creatives has become a very difficult venture is because of a thing we call DIY, do it yourself. And the challenges, as stated in the research here on page 10 and page 11, the volatility of the nature of the industry and the informal aspect of the business has made it quite difficult for a consensus approach in tackling this issue. But today, as we gather here, we will find a solution. And I am very grateful to academia for bringing this conversation up. We are also ready to embrace it and provide our insight and our thoughts into it. So for instance, let's say creatives in the music industry. We must target entities where we need to tap in from the revenue sources. So we have rights management organizations, and then in the music industry, the formal ones. So you have rights management organizations, and then the record labels. Those are the formal areas that if you are looking on to tap whether revenue or pensions, these are formal areas that we need to tap into. So one, record labels. If a performer wants to join a record label, it means that there will be a contract exchange, and the record label will specify what it is going to do for the artist. Mind you, these record labels are registered entities in Ghana. I mean, there is Links, there is Ox Records. I mean, there are a lot of record labels in Ghana that are formal. We need to target these areas. And in Ghana, the Ghana Music Rights Organization is also the only rights management organization that pays royalties to rights holders in Ghana. And in 2018, the board led by its chair, Rex Owusu-Mafo, was thinking about what academia is doing today. How do we find pension scheme for our creatives? How do we help our creatives? So the first policy document drafted by the then board was to first do a life and pension scheme. So if you come to GAMRO today, all the GAMRO members have something like this. I will share with, I have a copy here, so I will share with you. So what they did was that they engaged a fund manager for a tier 3 provident fund. The idea was that we're doing life insurance for you as part of the package. But then because we have a revenue stream we collect your royalties, we collect both broadcast, digital, and then blank levy for you. So tell us on the form that if my revenue comes, demarcate, let's say 10% or 20% into this fund for me. And like my brother was saying, it is kind of very difficult for the creative to voluntarily come out to say that I want to contribute X amount to my pension. I mean, they always want it. And if you leave pension contribution voluntarily, even we in the formal sector would always want our money paid to us. Yes, so we need a policy or, a legal framework to make it mandatory. But now, let me be quick to add that some people have actually agreed that at the end of every 6 months we should demarcate a percentage of their royalties to this fund for them. It's a provident fund, and I'll share the information with you. So, like I mentioned, I'll be very brief as my height. Let me just quickly add 2 recommendations. I would highly recommend academia to introduce engagements with industry. I mean, there are rich ideas in industry that academia should be able to tap into. Because if KCCR and the Gucci's are doing their research, they engage the industry very well. And I think that the idea of the Center for Research in Cultural Arts should be able to engage creative and then agencies under them very well. Lastly, we should introduce creative law and ethics as a course. And it's an idea I've been promulgating for a very long time. If you go to the business school, they have business law and ethics. Why can't we have creative law and ethics? Because the laws are here. The Copyright Act, the Copyright Regulation, and the amendments. We need to teach these things in our creative classes for our creative students to know that they have rights which are economic and moral rights enshrined under Section 5 and Section 6 of the Copyright Act, Act 690, Act 2005. And every student needs to know this so that it will encourage them to, be very highly interested in the skill or, in everything that they are doing. And so, on this note, I'll promise that the Ghana Music Rights Organization is available. I will make GAMRO available for any research that the academia needs to do. And if you really need us to also come in to engage students on industry practices and thoughts, we are readily available. We will not charge you. We will be available to do that for the sake of the interest of the students. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Jackson Grateful, the CEO of GAMRO. We're so grateful for your wonderful.
Thank you, Prof. Chair, distinguished ladies and gentlemen present. Let me apologize for stepping into the program quite late. We had to do some debriefs this morning, but considering how important this particular policy dialogue sits with the National Apprenticeship Program, that debrief didn't finish. When we finished our presentation, we begged leave and left to join you, and the traffic condition also took a lot of time. And so I'm here with the 2 deputy national coordinators, Mokarama and then Foha. Let me be honest with you that this policy dialogue we are having today couldn't have been any relevant and timely than now. Ghana sits at a point where youth unemployment is skyrocketing. The formal sector is unable to absorb the chunk of graduates, talented people we are turning out from our universities. Statistics tell us that 85% of the workforce we have in Ghana comes from the informal sector. 60% of the skills we have in Ghana are gotten through informal training, through apprenticeship. But how do we get these apprenticeships? These apprenticeships come through our traditional systems. What the Western education terms informal is formal education for our cultural heritage. The apprenticeship systems and creative arts are the only routes from which culture and tradition is transmitted from generation to generation in African culture, in the case of Ghana. And so I agree. I wasn't here for the presentation, but I have looked at the publication, and I agree with the authors if we classify apprenticeship as a formal training, because that is our heritage. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the National Apprenticeship Program has come in timely because it's come to solve a lot of traditional issues we have had with job creation, unemployment, and standardization. And so, looking at the bedrock of Ghana's economy, the National Apprenticeship Program is not just a training initiative. It's a catalyst for self-employment, economic transformation, and beyond all, it is an era for new skills-based social inclusion. Formal education has been the basis for, let me use the Indian concept, the caste system we have. If you are not a professor, you are not a doctor, you are not an academic, you are not a tie holder in office, generally you do not belong. But let's ask ourselves, when the president wakes up in the morning to go to office, he takes a bath. That bath is constructed by someone. If a plumber does not fix that pipe, the president will not bath. The Flagstaff House is constructed by some group of people who are not viewed as formal sector workers. The president is chauffeured to the office. That engine is serviced by somebody that did not take the training under a shed in a classroom. It is informal sector, artisanal, apprenticeship. That mechanic, without him, that engine will not carry the president. When the president car tires need to be changed, they are changed by a vulcanizer. The president has a wife who does the hair beautifully. That is not done by a robot. That hair is plaited by a lady that is sitting in a shop somewhere that got the training through apprenticeship skill training. The clothes we wear, they are produced not by tie holders or bankers. And so it tells you that in any economy, if that economy must thrive, then the talents and skill sets that we have in that country must be priority on earth and deliberate action taken to develop them, prioritize, and standardization brought into the perspectives. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what the new era of the National Apprenticeship Program seeks to do. We all go to the market, we buy fish, we buy tomato. Without a market woman, you cannot feed. But that market woman is not a formal sector contributor. That market woman is an informal sector contributor. When there's havoc at home, we watch television, we watch movies, and we use even cartoons to school our children. Basic level. Those ones don't come from talents in the banks. They come from the creative world. And those are those we have in this room. Without the creative sector, without the artists we have in the system, life would be meaningless. And so in the National Apprenticeship Program, traditional crafts, creatives, and arts form a critical component for the National Apprenticeship Program. Who do we target in the National Apprenticeship Program? Academic qualification is not a priority. Basic qualification for every apprentice or learner is the will to want to polish a skill. We are not teaching skills. People already have innate ambition and talents. They only need to find a medium for those talents to be tapped into. And that is what the National Apprenticeship Program is seeking to do. And so we are targeting people aged 15 to 40. The UN categorizes young people to 24. The National Youth Authority Charter and Act pegs youth at 35. But let's ask ourselves, we are Africans, we are Ghanaians. Do we say that at the age of 35, you cease to be a young person? We say life begins at 40. Let's put COVID-19 in perspective. There are many young businesses that were lost. At the age of 40, each Ghanaian still has at least 20 good years to contribute economically to this state. If we cut off apprenticeships, training, and skills development to 35, have we come or we are yet to arrive. And so we peg it at 40. Now, what the program will do, and as the recommendations came from the study, is that we know access is problematic because the apprenticeship fees are generally high. So access is problematic. Apart from access, standardization is problematic. So you will find that there's a huge skills gap. Industry complains a lot. To ensure that we are bridging that gap, the curriculum for the National Apprenticeship is co-developed by CTVET and industry players so that the skills we are developing are meeting the demands of industry. A gentleman, my brother, spoke about importation of skills from Togo, tilers. We drill oil, but let's ask ourselves, do we have Ghanaian experts that do underwater welding? We bring in foreigners. Can we train our own and export the same skills?
Yes.
That is what National Apprenticeship Program seeks to do. And so there's standardization, and every mastercraft person will use the curriculum provided by the program for the training. All beneficiaries will receive monthly stipend, and the programs will take a duration of short-term 2 to 4 months for skills that do not need too much complexity to learn. The medium term is 4 to 12 months, and the long term is 12 to 18 months. Someone may ask, the traditional dressmaking, they use 2 years to learn. Why are we packing hours at 18 months? That is because research and data has proven that the first few months of every traditional apprenticeship program is set to get the young apprentice to do domestic services. You are either cleaning or cooking or picking children from school. The National Apprenticeship Program will not condone that. It is a standardized learning procedure, and there are maximum hours that a learner must do per day. To also ensure that there is standardization, we have crafted a site that we know that master craft skills will not be the same. And so while you will have the same group of people learning a particular skill or trade, you will have 70% of the training from your master crafts at your workshops. 30% of it is classroom based, but your examination is not theoretical, it's practical. We are doing this such that we have experts who are knowledgeable in providing theoretical skills and explaining the basics and ethical rationale for which some things are done at the workshop. And so for 2 or 3 hours in a week, all those that are probably learning sewing will gather in a vocational school or a technical training institution or a university, whichever is convenient, and get theoretical explanations to what they are being taught at the workshop. Then they go back to the workshop and practice what they have been taught there. The program is providing the tools and consumables that the trainees need to learn during the training process. When you are done with the training, government is equipping every trainee with basic tools to start up. And that is why we said it is not just a training initiative like all others. This is a different era of apprenticeship because we must scale up and skill. Now, after the graduation, you will be issued a standardized certificate coming from CTVET. On the basis of that certificate, you can enroll in any of the security services. We have never seen the military vehicle Jomo Kenyatta in a magazine or mechanic shop. They repair them at the barracks. Who do that? Mechanics. The prison services, their uniforms are not sewn outside. They sew them in the barracks. Who are the people that sew them? It is these people with skill sets. And so you will no longer require academic qualification to be in the police service, the prison service, or military. Once you hold our certificate, you will have access to enroll as a security person. Beyond that, there's going to be startup capital for people that are able to pitch business ideas. We will support you, and complementing this is the Ejumaura program. Now, as our graduate, we don't leave you to go. We monitor and coach you, provide mentorship for 2 years after you have graduated. so that we are able to ensure that the skills we have given you is not going to waste. Ladies and gentlemen, this program cannot succeed without us. We say the youth are the future of this country. We cannot have a tomorrow when the foundation is not properly set. The foundation of tomorrow begins today. And so the National Apprenticeship Program is a new revolution for young people. This year we are piloting, and the pilot phase we are targeting to do just 10,000 beneficiaries. So far we have received over 100,000 applications, 10 times more than the pilot numbers. It tells us the hunger for skills development. The good news, however, to every young person that has applied is that from next year we'll be rolling out minimum 100,000. And so if you have applied and don't get to be selected for the pilot phase, you do not need to reapply. Our system is robust enough. And once we have you in our system, we will definitely onboard you when we are scaling up. And so, having come late, I was told when you attend programs late, you don't speak too much. I will end with the sustainable pensions for creatives. Fortunately, the NDC government is a potent government that has factored these into the governance structure. If you have taken a look at the NDC manifesto, page 15, there's a comprehensive outlining of pension scheme for every citizen of this country, be you from the formal or informal. And clearly convenient for our position is the Mo-Neyo scheme of the government. And the Mo-Neyo is targeting those of us that are categorized into the informal sector. And let me also announce that I'm a professional barber. So before getting into the academia to teach, I started as a photographer and did barbering. And that is how somehow I took care of myself. And so Mo-Neyo is an active scheme. And I know government is working around with industry players. And so I am sure this policy dialogue has come in timely, and I will want to encourage the university and the authors and the convenience of this, not to let it be a 9-day wonder. The biggest challenge in Ghana, we are able to take initiatives, but sustaining the push and the fight becomes problematic when it's difficult. Let's push on. From our end, we are ensuring that Mo-Neyo functions for our products, because once we establish you, Mo-Neyo will ensure that you begin to contribute something small and government complements that, such that when tomorrow you can no longer walk to the farm to produce vegetables, there is the backbone of government to also support you, because we all pay taxes. On this note, thank you to the organizers and the National Apprenticeship Program, where we sit under the Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment and the National Youth Authority. Wherever the opportunity comes in, we will put in a word for the pension scheme.
You will not get out there and you hear, yes, say, the person has the information and therefore will explain the information to the detail. And that is when it is helpful. I bring you greetings from the Ghana Journalists Association President, Mr. Albert Kwatnatu. I am happy that the invite was extended to him. We will have to get to where we now make sure that we trade information to the best of our ability. When you add knowledge to information, that is when you solve problems. Those times that we were just trading information without any requisite knowledge to it, that is why most of our problems were not solved. But I know that looking at this great topic here, we need to move on. And I listened to the Vice Chancellor, the way he encouraged his people to pick up the pieces and move on. don't let us use the media as an afterthought. Immediately we do that, we shortchange ourselves. Let the media be your friends. Give them quality information so that they would not distort the facts. The various news editors in the various newsrooms are supposed to be your friends. So, Ejumewura, and whatever you have, if the people in the newsrooms, the editors in the newsrooms are not your friends, if they don't understand Monoyo, how do you carry it forward? The reporters will go out there and bring the stories to the newsroom. If the news editors don't understand the story, and the reporter writes the story and the story is not accurate, can the news editor correct it? So it means that the half-baked story or the misinformation or the disinformation will go out into the streets. Then you become an agent of now reactively correcting it. Don't let us get there. Make sure that the media is your friend. I would encourage all of you to partner the media. Let the media be the first, not an afterthought. When you are designing your programs, factor in the media. Factor in the journalist who has to understand the story and therefore write the story perfect for your own interest. If not so, okay, when I say when they come in there, I'm going to look. It is better to bite the bullet than let the bullet hit you. If you bite the bullet, I always tell them, you can know how you can massage the bullet so that all that you can do is that what? You get bruises in your mouth, you can use Jensen Wallow to clean this one. But if you don't do that, and then you are shot at, it will kill. So don't let us kill Ghana. Let's be friends of the media. Let's encourage the media to get the quality information that we want them to get. And visit them. Let the news editors be your friends. When you see anything that is below par, call him. Oh, Chief, Mr. Msope, no, your reporter came in here. This is not supposed to be the story. But I think this is misinformation. Can you please correct it? You do it once, you do it twice. Now, Mr. Msope will be in the newsroom. And you would always want to make sure, when you come from assignment, the question is, what is the story? Because he understands the story, he will guide and shape the story. Then you have quality information in the streets. And then we will all move on. As a journalist, I was told 2 minutes. And I would want to do less than 2 because when I'm interviewing you in my days, I'll tell you, can I talk to you for 3 minutes? And I'll make sure that it is not going to be more than 3 minutes. That is how I would want all of us to impact on the current generation of journalists so that we can get the job done very well. Make the media your friends. Academic. Let them understand you. If they don't understand you, what did you have to say? Don't mind. You are explaining Taya.
Yes.
Walk away from explaining Taya. Make sure you give them the information that you know it's good to you to use. God bless us all.
Thank you so much. Let's show him some love. Thank you so much. At this juncture, we would now want to invite Musicians Union of Ghana, represented by the General Secretary in the person of Mr. Akofi Achiman. Please come up stage and give us your word. Let's show him some love as he approaches. He came also with a member of the union by name Dosia. Dosia, give us a wave. We're so grateful. All right, and then I'm also a member of the Musicians Union.